St. Jerome, keeping in ribs at a tasty price. And by Pepsi, Canada's beverage.
Hi, we'd like to welcome you to the second annual Brunswick Bowling Lane Championships. My name is Cliff Gable, and with me today is Bruce Hopkins, and we'll be trying to keep you up to date as to what's happening. Bruce, it looks like we're going to have another super year again this year.
We've got some good bowlers again this year, as in the past year. Some different fellas qualified. Some of the ones that were around last year didn't make it back into the qualifying round, but yeah, I'm looking for a good 11 weeks of bowling.
Yes, I think some of the scores this year has indicated that the scores are up. The competition is going to be really tough. So I guess without any further ado, we're going to get this underway. Hope you enjoy it. Tune in every week. We'll be bringing you matches throughout the next 11 weeks. So first up, Randy Nickerson. Randy this year is a new bowler. He wasn't into the last year's round. Randy is a 34-year-old fisherman that lives here in Yarmouth. He's been bowling for 25 years. He's had a high single of 188, a career high single that is, a career high triple of 435. Randy qualified for this tournament this year with a 375 triple.
Randy's laid off bowling for the last 2 or 3 years. He hasn't been bowling in the leagues, and he's just starting to come back now, and he's been bowling real well.
I see he's got a brace on his wrist there today, Bruce. I don't know if this is just for extra support or if he's having a problem with that wrist.
I heard him when he came in and tell somebody that he had hurt his wrist yesterday. So Randy starts off with an 8. So I don't know how much it'll affect him. He's, like you say, he's got it strapped up there, and Randy bowls kind of an in-shoot. Not a very fast bowler, just a medium speed.
A very direct approach to...
Yeah, he had a good ball then right in the pocket and left the 5-pin.
Randy, over the years, has had 10 400s to his credit, so...
And slides by the right. Take the guys a couple alleys to get used to it here, used to the cameras and the lights and the fact that they're bowling for a little bit of money. And Randy has a 9 for 17 after his first 2 boxes.
Just prior to the opening there was a few of them that were indicating there was a little bit of butterflies and stuff, but I'm sure that once a couple of the alleys are over with, they'll get themselves in the groove and settle in. Our next bowler is Jeff Baker. Jeff is 31 years old and lives in Arcadia. He works at the skating rink. He's been bowling for 20 years. His current average is 119. His career high single is 194. And high career triple is 455. Jeff qualified for this tournament with a triple of 390. Jeff right now checking on that deadwood there. Looks like it's just about over the line, I believe.
There's a line out there that the pin rolls out beyond that. It has to be taken out, and that one was because our line judge, Gerald, and manager of the bowling lanes was down and threw it in the pit. And slides off into the gutter, so Jeff takes a 9.
Maybe now's a good time, Bruce, to mention our sponsors this year, the Red Knight Enterprises and Subway, 2 local businesses here in the Yarmouth area that are sponsoring this tournament here at Brunswick Lanes, along with Cable 5 TV. We certainly thank all these people for their participation and taking part in this.
Jeff had a good ball in the pocket there, and we'll explain as we go along what the pocket is to the various bowlers. Has pins 8 and 9. He's right on the front one for spare.
And our first mark of the day.
As a little added incentive for the bowlers, we have prizes of for double strikes and for 3 marks in a row. That last one is a little bit different than last year's, but it was kind of tough to get 5 marks in a row last year, as they found out. So management has decided to bring it down to 3 marks in a row, so they can win $5 each time they have a double strike, or for every 3 marks in a row they get. And it can be a combination of any spare or strike, as long as it's 3 in a row.
This year as well, we've had a few changes to the lanes, which hopefully we'll get to show the people a little later on through the series, and explain why it has been helping the scores and the bowlers.
Hank chopped out 2 to the right on his first ball, had a good second ball, and came out with a 9.
Our bowler right now is Hank Nickerson. He lives here in Main Street in Yarmouth. He's 38 years old, and he's a firefighter for the town of Yarmouth. He's been bowling for 12 years, bowls in a couple leagues here at the Brunswick Lanes. His career high single is 170. His high triple for the career is 400. And Hank qualified for this tournament with a triple of 343.
Hank's kind of an explosive bowler. He could be just going along and and then all of a sudden, bang, and everything's going for him. He'll come up with a good big single game. So all 4 of these guys are going to be right there at the end, that's for sure.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to seeing these matches this year. It looks like it's going to be a tremendous tournament. Our next bowler is Miles DeViller. Miles bowled last year, for some of you people that saw the tournament last year. Miles lives here in Yarmouth, and he's a meat cutter. He has a current average of 111. His high career single is 159. His high triple is 402.
He was right on that shot. Maybe a little thin on the head pin. It left the 2 pin, but he was right there. And takes a 10.
Miles qualified for this tournament with a 368 triple. So Miles is one of our old hands at this, and seems to be settling in quite well.
Yeah, he's a 2-year veteran.
Yeah.
I might add too, Cliff, that that's a good ball in the pocket. We had, I think, 42 qualifying scores. Some fellas bowled more than once. If they didn't have a real good match, they paid their fee and they came back to try again. I think Miles was one of those guys.
Yeah, this is an indication of how well the tournament was received last year. I might add that for months after the tournament last year, I had people stopping me and talking to me about the tournament, how much they had enjoyed it.
And there's another spare. So Miles had an easy picking on that one. He had the 6, 9, 10 with a nice flat dead wood in front of it. And, he rolls a nice easy in shoot. That was his corner, so he was right down on that shot. Now we're back at Randy. It's on the head pin. Leaves himself a 2-4, 6-10 split.
Very deliberate bowler.
Yeah, he got a little bit to the outside of that one. I think probably the best shot is to split the 2 and make the 2 pin jump over to the other ones. And goes by for an 8. During the broadcast every week, you're going to hear us mention pin numbers. And just for some of our new bowlers, the head pin, the closest pin to you, the one that's out front, is the number 1 pin. Then you go to the left and work right. So it's 1, he's right in the 1, 2 pocket. So it's 1, 2, 3, and the 3rd row is 4, 5, 6. The left-hand corner pin is number 7, going across 8 and 9 to the right-hand corner pin, which is number 10. So we'll probably be calling those numbers as we go along now. As you look at this shot, Randy has 7, 9, and 10 with, I think, just 2 pieces of wood in there. That's a good try. Leaves the 10 pin. and a 9, and after 4 boxes, Randy has 34. Jeff Baker started off with a 9 and a spare, so he's open. His first ball will count on his spare that he had in the second box. He's in the 1-3 pocket where he wants to be, a little thin, but came up with a nice 8 on that spare. So Jeff is 27 after 2. Oh, well, oh, another one fell there, 9.
Deadwood rolling across there.
Yeah. I'll have to keep watching this game, huh?
Just kicked itself around and...
Single pin right on it. So Jeff has 2 marks in a row.
And another mark is going to give him a little bit of money to put in his pocket after this game, so...
Pay for milk for the new baby that just arrived.
That's right, so...
Back in that pocket again.
Yeah, we might add that Jeff is a new dad, isn't he?
Yeah. I suppose about 7 years we'll have another Baker here on Lanes, huh?
Yeah, well,
See,
I got a feeling probably sooner than 7.
Jeff's mom and dad were both top bowlers in the town. Jeff's come along to be a very good bowler. There's no reason why to think the little fella won't too.
Oh, I'm sure Grandma and Grandpa will have the little fella out here teaching him real quick.
And after 4 boxes, Jeff Baker with his 2 marks is 55 on 4. So he's off to a good start. Hank Nickerson, a couple of 9s to start his first game. He's in the 1-2 pocket. His ball breaks back, so that could be where he likes to put the ball. The ball's going into the pins, not away from the hit pin. So he's left 3 and 10. Ooh.
Hit it in the right spot, just didn't get a good bounce coming off of that sidewall.
Inside was better, but outside you got to think that that's going to go either straight back or off of the wall. So he's got 3 in a row, 9s.
Unfortunately, that isn't the marks that
We're not going to pay for those.
Again, now I think you're seeing these bowlers are settling down a little bit. Their ball is getting down there a little better. Get over the lights, the cameras staring at them.
He's got a kind of an odd break there, 1, 8, 6, and 10. Okay, I think he had the right idea. He wanted to get inside so the ball would hit the head pin, take the other 2 on the right, and hope that the head pin, when it went back, would either come off the wall or take the 8 pin for him. It didn't. And Hank has a 6 for 33 after 4. Miles DeViller, he has a spare working for him in the second box, so he's 20 and plus a ball. Off to the side a bit, comes up with a good 7. Gives him 27 after 2.
Leaves a 1, 7, and 10 pin standing.
And the wood in there could help one, you know, if things start to fly around a little bit. He gets on the head pin, but he was straight solid on the head pin, so that's all
Just
he took.
shoved it straight back. That deadwood, well, it looked like it was going to roll back, but the one in front of it kind of slowed it down a little bit.
I think we're going to find the same as last year. And
He wobbles it a little bit.
guess you'll have to take a 9 for 36 after 3. We find that the pins are going to fly around and slide around a lot, and as we watch week after week, and we'll mention the side kicks, they've changed the side kicks to a different material this year. It has made the pins fly around a little bit and come back, and they're able to pick up an extra deadwood, and pins slide and flying around to help knock the rest of the pins down. So to me, that's one of the big reasons why the scores are up this year.
Yeah, and they have been up markedly, I think, this year with their 400s that's been bowled here at the lanes and big scores.
Yeah, there's been 45 400s already this year. Needs to split those to get them. Just slid by. And pins for a 10. So Miles is 46 after 4.
So after 4 rounds, we have Randy at 34, we have Jeff at 55, we have Hank at 33, and Miles at 46. So it's still anybody's game.
Yeah, right now it's 2 up and 2 down, but it could change very quickly. He's down to the right this time and leaves a bunch of 5 in there. Let's see, we got the 1, 2, 5, 8, and 9. Right on the head pin. Oh, then he got a kick with, I think there was a ball there. Yeah, the ball stayed on the plate and knocked the other 2 down. So Randy has his first spare.
We might also add there, Bruce, that later on we'll give a chance to show that the trophy that these guys are bowling for, as well as the money, and that's a nice feather in your cap to take a beautiful trophy like this home.
Yes, and that's compliments of Brunswick Lanes. Now Randy's got to hit this one just right. He's got the 4-7, but the wood is at an angle. I think he has to stay out on the right-hand edge of it a bit. Out there.
Right
yes.
there.
Yep. So Randy has 2 spares in a row after a little slow start. That's what we were just saying. 2 up, 2 down. The other 2 could come along quick, and it's coming.
We might add that this is open to the public, that they're more than welcome to come and watch the bowling here at Brunswick Lanes, and it always gives a little encouragement to the bowlers, and it's nice to see all the people come out and enjoy the bowling.
I think once the word gets around that we're doing this, that we'll have some fans. Oh, nice spare.
Nice
spare.
Got good action off of the deadwood.
5-pin spare. And Jeff has his 3rd spare in 5 frames.
With that open frame in between, he lost his chance at a little bit of extra money on this.
Dropped that one down, left it out to the right. 2, 4. He got 4 on that spare, which is 69 on 5. I would think this would be a rather tough spare. He's got to kind of go right solid on that head pin.
And just misses it. Just
slid
to
by.
Right. Randy's left himself at the end of 6 with 2 spares in a row.
Good 10. Good 10.
Jeff seems to be on his game here fairly well today.
Jeff is now 79 after 6. Now Hank's got to get started. This is a 2-game series, by the way, for our viewers. Anybody who follows bowling knows that when you bowl in leagues, you bowl 3 games. But in our first, 9 and 10 weeks, they bowl 2 games. And then when we get into the skins, they bowl a 3-game series.
And by that time, we'll be down to 4 bowlers.
That's right, yeah. We're starting with 24. There, Hank had the whistle blown on him for the lob line, so Hank takes an 8. And the lob line, well, let's explain that right quick, like. The lob line is 10 feet out on the lanes beyond the foul line. And if a bowler's ball is in the air, when it goes past that line, then Gerald is down there with a whistle and blows the whistle on him, and he'll lose the pins that he knocks down with that ball.
And it's kind of a heartbreaker when you get into this kind of a series, you know, to lose that. You don't have that problem so much during the leagues, but when it's this tight of competition, we have a line judge, Gerald Tebow, the manager of Brunswick Lane, sitting down right there on a chair. I think it has to be one of the hardest jobs in this whole tournament. He sits there and stares constantly at the line, and as the ball goes out over it, he blows the whistle, which cancels that ball for the person.
And Hank has a pair of 8s, which leaves him at 49 after 6. So as I said about Hank's bowling, he could come on in a hurry. Struggling a bit right now, but I'm sure he'll be there.
With a couple marks, he can still get back in this game.
Oh, yeah.
He's definitely not out, but the pressure's starting to come. There we go.
And there's our first strike.
First strike of the day, Miles de Viller.
And that's that little in-shoot that he bowls. It goes in on the 1-2 pocket. And as I said, that's the place you want to be. You want to go whatever way your ball's breaking. You want to go into the pins. You don't want a ball breaking away from the head pin because it takes the power away from it. And it just pushes everything back when it's in that good pocket. And he's there again. So right now, Miles is getting that ball right in the pocket.
Miles, I was talking to him just prior to airtime today, and he was saying that the butterflies weren't quite as bad this year as they were last year.
He lost that one, but he has 8 on his strike for 64 on 5. That's where he wanted the other one.
And a 10.
And a 10 for 74. So we're looking at Randy with 62 and open, Jeff Baker 79, Hank 49, and Miles DeVillers 74, all after 6 frames.
So we've got 2 fullers that are up there into the 70 area, and now we have Randy, who's just a little bit behind. He's 62 and open. Chance to put him back up there in those 70s, and he gets a decent break on that.
I guess he
lot
does.
lot of deadwood rolling around there to his advantage, and he gets a 9-pin break.
And that brings him up to 71 on 6. So
now we have 3 in the 70s after the 6th frame. And
he's got he's got wood moving around, and probably the one way that's laying way out, Gerald's going to pick it up, but it wouldn't hurt him, but it's distracting. So he'll take that one out altogether. He'll probably check all the other ones okay. If he goes right down in the corner, I think, right on the pin, he shouldn't have any trouble getting this one. If he goes out to the left on that pin, he may flip it right off.
And went into the channel and back out.
Yeah, I guess I'm at an angle a little bit here, so
yeah, it dropped off
so
just prior to it, and took it out.
Just got over a little bit too far. He was thinking right, I think anyway, and he wanted to get down there right on the pin. It just got a little bit too far to the right.
On that head pin, that deadwood's working well for him today.
That was a pretty solid hit on the head pin. Now he's got the 6 and 7 with a flat deadwood. I'm not bowling now, so the boys are playing them a little bit differently than we played without the back or the side kick. So he'll probably want to flip that off of the wall.
And I think that's what he...
yes, and it moved that other wood too.
That's what he tried.
Yeah, he went to the right. Years ago, they might have played it on the left and had it come off the wall and over. They play them off the right now because the pins will fly sideways. But that was good. That was a good try, Randy. So Randy's now 89 on 8. It went over there and it touched the deadwood that was laying on the 7-pin, which is what he wanted it to do.
And he wobbled that 7, but not enough to take it down.
Jeff off to the right. He's 1, 2, 4, 8, and the 6, 10. And that's a makeable spare. You could get right in that pocket again, and well, he's going to clean up everything but the head pin. And 9. And this is Jeff. I can see Jeff's game now. He's had his 3 marks, but he's still hanging the ball off to the right a bit. So he'll adjust a bit, and it'll come up, and because he's got that big ball in there.
Yeah. And he's just slightly missing that pocket. He's not off by much. And there it is.
He's
there
back
it
in
is.
There again. There's
right
the
into
strike.
that pocket.
Yep.
And as you said, the little adjustment, whether it be with the foot or the hand or his delivery, but that's all it takes a lot of times to put it right back into the area where you need to be.
The good bowlers, they know what they have to do. If they're off their game a little bit, they know they, like you said, move up, back, sideways, a little harder, whatever. There's a number of things that you do
to change that. Yeah.
Now Hank has a good shot there. He's got the 3, 6, 10 with a lot of wood in behind it, and one that's touching the 10 pin will help. But he had to get on the front one.
Too far to the left onto the deadwood instead of the head pin, or the 3 pin, I should say.
And takes an 8 for 57 on 7. The longer you go, the more the nerves take a hold, or you tighten up a little bit, and you know, gee, I got to get going. I can't get going. You try too hard. So if a fella can relax up there, he's a lot better off.
It becomes that catch-22 situation where you try harder, you get off a little more.
The harder I try, the worse I get. Now he can split the 1, 2, and could take all 4. Ooh. Took the front 2 of that pin, went right between the 4 and the 7 in the air.
Right now, Hank needs just a little bit of luck and a little break to get his confidence
He needs
back.
that first mark.
Yeah.
He needs that first mark.
He's still struggling trying to get that first one. And
so Hank is now 66 after 8. Miles is 14 over par. He's 74 on 6. And it's been throwing a pretty good ball.
And again, back in that pocket and another strike.
Another strike, yep.
It's really interesting a lot of times, Bruce, to watch the different deliveries that all these bowlers have, but most of them all accomplish the same thing in the end, you know, but just the way that they approach the game, their delivery, their swing.
Yeah. Everybody has a different style, different way of throwing the ball.
And it's interesting to watch it, you know. Sometimes you can pick up pointers that will help your own style a little bit, but everybody, and most of them are so
Nice ball.
They don't even really notice that they're doing these things. Some have little special things they do. And
it comes natural after a while. If you're into the game and want to be a good bowler, you develop a style that suits you. And I guess that's probably one of the things to say to a new bowler. Come up here and come and enjoy yourself. Find a style that you're comfortable with. The way you throw the ball, doesn't matter how you throw it, as long as it's staying on the alleys, it's going where you want it to, and you're comfortable up there, then I think a person can work at it and become a decent bowler.
And we might add that Brunswick Lanes is open 7 days a week, and there's always somebody here, some of the staff, Steve, and some of the others here that's more than willing to, if you haven't ever bowled before, to fill you in.
Randy picks off a single pin for a spare in the 9th box of the first game. Now 99 and open.
So as I was saying, they can come up and get some information. Everything is here, the shoes, anything that you need to bowl, and a lot of expert advice.
Oh, I'm sure they'd be willing to help. Randy just put a nice ball in a pocket, but it must have been just a little bit thin because it left a bunch of 5 on the right and the left-hand corner pin, 7. So now he's got a lot of pins down there to go at. It's 103 after 9. Takes 1 for 7, and it ends up with 110.
110. So. Again, I was just looking at my sheet here, wondering what Randy's average was, but because he hasn't bowled for a couple of years, he doesn't have a current average.
Yeah,
so.
He hasn't been bowling leagues lately. But if I can remember back with the statistics that I was doing, he was that and more, a little more, I think.
Yeah.
Jeff here's bowling on a strike. Got off to the left-hand side of the head pin that time. There he is on the outside.
And
took them all but the 6
break.
pin, so he got 9 on that strike, which gives him 107 on the 8th. And 10 for 117, and 1 box to go. Well, Jeff's going to have a good game. He's had 4 marks. I've always felt if you could average 5 to a mark when your game was over, that you haven't lost too many pins.
And with that ball brings Jeff up above what his current average is, so he's bowling his game good today.
Now he's got the 2 back pins, the 8 and the 9 with a wood out there, and he's going way down. He had to get way down to get over to get that 9 pin because the pin was flat and it was more in front of the 8 pin. He had to get it to move. And another nice 10 for 127 for Jeff. Not a bad start.
Again, if you've just joined us, we might mention that the scores here today, this one game doesn't automatically advance these guys. They're going to bowl the second game and then take a combined total of the 2 games, and that will determine who advances on to the next round.
Yeah, and we're going to do that for 6 weeks, and the 12 winning first round bowlers' names will be put in a hat so that we can mix them up, and they'll know then who they bowl against when they put them up there. Now, they don't automatically go by score.
That's right. Yeah.
So that we won't have anything to say who's bowling who and make some bad feelings.
So
same as this round. The names are put in a hat and drawn out, and there'll be 3 groups of 4.
That's right.
It'll take us 3 weeks to do.
Might add also, Bruce, that this is the way the qualifying was done. They all came in, rolled 3 games, and then by luck of the draw is who they bowled against when they came up into this round. So
the same thing will happen in the second round, and then we advance those 12 guys, or those I should say those 12 guys will bowl. It'll leave us with 6. There's a spare for Hank. So he finishes off his first game and with a spare. He's got 86, and he'd like to throw a strike right now and get him up in the 90s.
Hank currently has 110 average this year, so he's been just a little below his game.
So he ends with an 18. That's 94. So he's sagging a bit, but he came out of it. He got his first mark now. Second game, he should be more relaxed and get a score.
He's down a little bit, but he still has the capability of coming back in that second game with a big game to give him the chance.
I've seen Hank do this a lot. He'll bowl a low game, and all of a sudden, bang, he's back with 150 or something, you know. And who Miles? Got a nice 9-pin drop with a flat deadwood up front. Although, if he goes too far to the left, no, right on it. And he has his 4th mark. So he's 110 and open in the 9th.
We might add here that the 4th mark, but they're not in a row, so that while it's making his game good, it's not paying him any money. They have to be 3 in a row or 2 strikes in a row. Any 3 marks or 2 strikes.
And it worked pretty good for him. He got a 7 on it, so he's 117 on the 9th.
And he has a makeable spare there, Bruce.
Yeah. Could go to the outside or the left of the head pin, or he could split them, and chances are it would go off the wall.
Hold it just a little there to the left. That grip gets a little tighter under the competition, doesn't it?
And an 8 for 125. So after game 1 of week 1, Randy Nickerson 110, Jeff Baker 127, Hank Nickerson 94, and Miles DeViller 125. So we're going to get right into the second game.
So we have 3 of these bowlers that are right in there, close together, and Hank still isn't that far off. He's still capable of coming back and picking up the pace here and getting back into the hunt of things.
And I might remind the bowlers too that of the 4 bowlers, 2 advance, 2 will become spectators. Had a good shot on that one, Randy, and left the 8-pin.
Which none of the 4 of these guys want to become, so.
And starts off with a 10.
Like to add at this time, Bruce, a thank you to Subway for supplying the meals for the crew here today. It's been very nice of them. Subway's located out on Stars Road opposite the malls, and great friendly staff there to serve you, and Glenn Whitehouse and his crew are more than anxious to have you come in. If you happen to be in there, stop in and say hi and mention that you've watched the bowling on Cable 5 here and brought to you by Subway and the Red Knight Enterprises.
Subway's our new sponsor this year.
Yes.
And, Red Knight Enterprises are back again, which we're very pleased. Randy starts off with a couple of 10s in the second game. This is week 1, game 2 of our Candlepin bowling. Now there's, I think, a good example of the ball going on the so-called wrong side of the head pin. It just went away from it. It left Jeff with 5 and 9 and 4 and 7. Not much of a break unless you got some wood there. He had wood, but not the best wood in the world either.
And he tried to bring that wood off the side kicks to work for him.
See, down there opposite the plate, there are no deep gutters as some of the old bowlers or older bowlers will remember it down at the Y, or even here when they first started. They've eliminated the deep gutter, put the side kicks on, brought the backdrops in, and it makes for higher scores, good for business, and the pins will fly around, and you use the flying pin and get more deadwood that way. And once you learn to play your deadwoods, then you're going to make a lot more spares. Oh, didn't quite get that where he wanted it.
That deadwood coming off that side kick just right in behind it.
Well, if you split those three, they should go, and he didn't quite split him. I think he was a little heavy on the head pin. And he has a 10 for 19 after 2. And now Hank Nickerson. A little bounce on that one, but I guess it was down before it got to the lob line. There was no whistle. Left himself, I guess they call it the 4 horsemen, 1, 3, 6, 10 on the right-hand side.
I think Hank might have been holding his breath there a little bit, waiting for that whistle again. Hank so far has been the only one that's been called on the lob line.
Oh, the boys are pretty good. They know they have to keep the ball down, and that's the game. I mean, you shouldn't be throwing the ball out there like that. That's not the way to bowl. And he starts with a 7, which is really not the way he wanted to start, that's for sure. Well, the 3 in a row's okay, but you got that left-hand corner pin, which means you got to split those 3 quite fine, and hope that the 3 pin will flop over there on the 7.
Just what he was trying.
There's a good example of the pin sliding too. That one slid off the right-hand wall and all the way across, and laid right up against the 7 pin. So he was going for the
trying to kiss it across, but.
And he has an 8 for 15. Miles on the off side of his pocket shot with his ball. It's an in-shoot type. It goes from left to right. Got a little triangle down there, 2, 4, 5. And that's not an easy spare either. The deadwood isn't going to help him, but that little triangle, you most of the time you take 2 and leave 1. And he has his 10.
Oh, for any people that might have just joined us, we're into the second game of the first week.
Yeah, that means we've got 10 more weeks to go, doesn't it?
I think 10 more exciting weeks, Bruce. It was a real fun time last year doing this, and I think you and I were almost into a learning process as we went along. This time, even my butterflies are a little smaller this year and feel a little more comfortable with it. So,
well, I certainly enjoyed last year's bowling, and I sat here and with you the whole 11 weeks. Then I went home and watched 11 weeks of bowling. So,
yeah, there was very few weeks that I missed. Actually,
it was fun.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Even though we have front row seats and probably the best seats in the house, a lot of times you don't really get to see the actual bowling part of it because you're concentrating so much on bringing it to the viewers. But as you get home and you can be able to kick your feet up a little bit and watch it, then you get to really enjoy it.
And he got a good shot here. He's got the head pin and the 4 and a 7 with a nice deadwood in there. Just has to get on that head pin.
And just what he did.
Yeah, as long as he hit the front pin, yeah, he was, well, unless something really bad happened, that was a real gimme spare by hitting the head pin anyway. So Randy has 30 and open with a ball on the 3rd. Right back on the head pin, a good 9 on that. which makes him 39 on 3, and he's got the right-hand corner pin. And even that deadwood up front, he doesn't want to play that deadwood, but it's a little bit of a guide for him. He's got a hole down there between the end of the deadwood and the pin. So you aim for that hole, his ball works and comes over there. But
little high on
I
that.
hope he didn't play the deadwood.
It almost looks it, didn't it?
Well, he was out quite far on it, so I'm just wondering if he thought the wood was good. It didn't look like it from here. A 9 on 4 for 48 in the second game for Randy, so he's improved over his first game. At this time, he was down 34 on 4, but he came along there pretty strong after that. Jeff Baker, a 9 and a 10 to start his second game. Back in the pocket, and he's got the 2-4-5 triangle. Now, to make that spare good, his ball's got to go right into that front pin and the one on the right there.
Right there.
Yep.
That's just what he did.
A good solid ball in that pocket. It's like hitting when the 10 pins are up. You get right in that little pocket, and you should have it. But you can hit it a little bit thin, and it'll fly off and leave one.
Again, those pins aren't as big as they look, you know. When you're sitting here and looking at them, they look fairly big, but the dimensions of those pins are quite small.
We'll talk about those as we go along through the weeks. We have all the dimensions and everything here to let people know. So Jeff has a 6-pin drop and got that one out to the right. That was a real makeable spare with the ball in the 1-2 pocket and the wood in behind there. And he got down again. So Jeff has an 8, and he's 43 after 4.
Just to like to remind the folks that they're watching Championship Bowling here on Cable 5, brought to you by the Red Knight Enterprises and Subway. Both establishment located on Stars Road. More than happy to serve and look after you. That deadwood coming off there very slowly and doing its job.
Looked like a gimme, and then the left-hand corner pin was a little reluctant to go, but Hank got his spare. Now he needs to load this one up. And he got way down to the right and took 3.
And he knew as the ball left his hand that time, Bruce. You could tell.
You could tell when it leaves your hand what it's going to work for you.
He just basically turned around.
So he's 28 after 3.
He knew they've got away from him. Unfortunately, Hank's only on his second mark of the both games. So.
Yeah. I might add here too, Cliff, when you were mentioning our 2 good sponsors of Subway and Red Knight Enterprises, we'd also like to mention Brunswick Lanes, who are allowing us to use the lanes, and Viking Cable, who have set up all their cameras here and are going to be here with us through all this.
All the workers here are all volunteers. Are doing a fine job, and some of the viewers that watched the tournament last year might notice that Cable 5, through a learning process, has changed a few things this year to make it a little better for the viewers and to watch for special effects and this type of thing. So,
well, I thought they did an excellent job last year.
They certainly did. And,
I expect the same this year.
I know that.
Nice shot.
I know that Michael and Peter have worked very hard to make sure that everything is just right.
That's Miles DeViller up there. He started off with a pair of 10s, now has a spare in his 3rd box of the second game. Had 125 his first game, so he's right in second place after game 1. And right back in the pocket again. He's a 3-1 split, so 6 on the spare, which is 36. And, well, he could do it with this ball maybe easier than a guy who rolls a hook, because his ball's going to go away. If he get in that pocket of 3, it would flip that front pin over and take the 4 pin. And a 9 for 45. So after the 4th box of the second game, Randy's 48, Jeff is 43, Hank is 37, and Miles is 45. So they're grouped pretty close together right now.
9 pins separating the 4 bowlers, so
Randy with another good ball in the pocket. Leaves the 9 and 10 and about 5 pieces of wood down there, so you never know what's going to happen now. But
in a case like that, it can be a help, but it also can be a hindrance.
Yeah. Went way out to the left and cut it. Took a little while for that 9 pin to fall, but
got with a little nudge from the dead wood and the ball coming back on it.
The ball came back.
It did, yeah. And just make sure. A little added insurance for Randy.
So much wood there, it's hard to tell which way it's going to go. And he's in the pocket for 7 on the spare, which gives him 65 on 5.
And a hard second spare, Bruce. Possible, but
yeah,
but it's hard.
Probably want to stay on the outside of the 2 and have it come off the wall. Ooh.
And just what he tried too.
He was close.
That's what he was trying. He's trying to kick that pin across, take out the 7 pin, and then bring it back off the wall to his number 10 pin.
He should just concentrate on going for his 9 now,
yeah.
which he did. So Randy 74 on 6, which is just about where he was in his first game. He had 71 at this time. So he's been pretty consistent.
For a fellow who hasn't been around the lanes for a while, he's not doing too bad.
Well, he's been up here practicing a lot. He may not be bowling league bowling, but I've seen him in here a bit lately practicing.
I think, well, they knew this tournament was coming up, and a lot of the bowlers was preparing themselves for it.
Jeff Baker going after a single pin spare, right on it, dead on it. Jeff's very accurate bowler. He's good on singles, and he has learned his wood and knows his shots, and he's a very accurate bowler. There he is with 7 on it. That gives him 60 on 5 and a shot at that little triangle. This one's, well, same one, yeah, 2, 4, 5.
Has a very nice, smooth approach. And as I say that, he bounces the ball a little bit.
He bounced, yeah, right. He bounced that one, but it was a skinny hit, and it left the 1. If he hadn't bounced it, it probably would have, the ball would have broken more probably in there. But picks up his 10, and he's 70 after 6.
And he's right in the area where he was last game. He's 9 pins down, but it's a couple marks down, or at least 1 mark down from his last game at this time. So still a lot of bowling to come left here in this game.
Got to work a little bit for him, Hank.
Hank needing a little bit of luck here. I think, Bruce,
now he's got a shot there. If he was to go down, I'm going to second guess myself. If that back dead wood on the 4 pin is frozen, he could possibly go right off of this front one over there. Ooh. All it did was kick the pin out of there.
Yeah.
I thought maybe the ball might go over and kick the back dead wood, and that would flip the pin that was standing. I think there was a possibility that and I think that's probably what he was playing to. So he comes out of it with 10.
Hank knows now that he has to start coming on now to have a chance to advance.
Time's getting short.
Yeah.
He's got a couple of 125 and a 27 up there to aim at. It's going to be tough.
And there he goes.
There he is.
There he goes. Right in the pocket. I notice as the game goes on, progresses here today, that our fans in the back of us are picking up, and that's nice to see. It's nice to see the support. Friends coming out, strangers coming to support this and see what's happening.
And Miles is right back in there. Old Bibby, the bedpost. 2 corner pins, 7 and 10. But well, there's wood there, and a piece of wood to gutter.
It's possible to kick that across.
It could, yeah. Although the one in the gutter might kill the one if it flies off the wall. It might kill it from sliding over too.
And the ball comes across instead.
And that counts now.
Yes.
Some of our older bowlers may remember when they had a back ball, the pin boy got down and put the pins back up if it knocked any down. With the backdrop in close and pin setters, no pin boys, a back ball counts. So you can steal one every once in a while. Takes a 9 for 54 on 5.
I remember as a young feller, I used to set up pins down at the YMCA, but with the pin action you get down there right now, I don't know if I'd want to be sitting down there dangling my feet down like I used to do.
There were some fast bowlers in those days too. Lindsey Horton, Stan LeBlanc, Burton Sams.
I think
and, you usually moved out when they bowled.
Herman Nickerson,
Yeah.
Gordon Titus. They were strong, hard bowlers. They were up in the category with Greg McGray today, and
there's some boys up here, Reggie Fowler,
yes.
and I guess Willard Ogden bowls hard, and some of those boys, they throw hard. They're accurate, but they throw hard. And
using that wood off the side kick
yeah.
again to his advantage. Yeah. Almost made it.
Left the 10 pin. And Miles picks up his 10 for 64. So after 6 frames of the second game in week 1, Randy Nickerson 74, Jeff Baker 70, Hank Nickerson 57 and open with a strike, and Miles DeViller has 64. And the 2 leaders after game 1 were Jeff Baker with 127 and Miles DeViller with 125. So Randy and Hank are chasing. Now he's got the 247 and the 5-1 in the middle, so you can split the 3 or you can go on the outside of the 3. The ball will take the 5. Actually 2 ways of playing that.
He tried for the outside of that 2 pin and just
looks like he might have, yeah.
Slipped by it a little bit.
And Randy takes an 8 for 82 on 7.
As it stands right now, we've got a little bit of a race going between Randy and Jeff and Miles. Hank is kind of back there a little bit, by no means out of it yet.
Yeah, Randy's got to have some marks because he was down 15 on Miles after the first game, so he's got to make those up and stay ahead of Miles this game.
And he had 10 of those back after 6 frames, so he's closing in.
And he punched 2 to the left and filled the hole.
Talking to himself right now, Bruce. He's got to get that concentration.
Funny part of that shot, if you had those 2 pins standing there alone for a spare, chances are you aren't going to punch 2. But when the 10 of them are there, you can punch 2 so easily. And Randy has a 6, so he's now 88 on 8.
Just like a magnet at a vacuum. It draws your eyes to it, and 9 times out of 10, that's where you're going to put that ball.
Well, if you're off your head pin and out of the pocket, you're going to be over on the 2 pin or the 3 pin, and you're apt to do that quite a few times.
Jeff back in the pocket on the opposite side this time.
Yeah. And he leaves the 3 pin for a spare shot. Oop. And throws that one away. So Jeff is 79 on 7. That's one spare you can't fluke. You have to hit it. Single pin. Got over there. There, he got some action off the wall on that one.
Again, he got in that pocket between the 1 and 2 on the opposite side because of the way his ball goes, but got good pin action. And
I'll guarantee when he sat down, he said, "Oh, gee, why did I get that spare? Because I'd have had a strike on it."
Yep.
Here's Hank rolling on his strike now.
Back on the head
in
pin
the pocket.
Again.
Yep. And he's got the 3, 6, 10 in a row with the 5 pin. So I still think splitting the 3 is the best, but that's what he did. He left the 5. So what do I know? 19 on the 9 on the spare, which gives him 66 after 6. And a 10 for 76. was a decent hit. Left a little triangle 5, 8, 9 and a 7 pin. If the wood was to
Roll
come in a
over
little
there,
closer,
yeah.
but I think probably the trouble with that one is he won't get the, if he slides the wood, he won't get the 9 pin. That's the right-hand side one, the further, or the pin furthest to the right. He might have trouble getting that.
Not sure whether he tried to put it in the pocket or if he tried to play the wood that time, but either way, he didn't have much luck. He hit the dead wood right on the end, and the ball just bounced across and took out that number 7 pin.
And Hank is 84 after 8.
He's staying right in there on this game, but unfortunately was down to
The first game hurt him.
30-odd pins in his first game, which he's got to mark out.
This is Miles DeViller, who's 125 in his first game, and he's 4 over par on the second game. So he's in pretty good shape. Now he's got a good shot there. He's got 2 in each corner and a head pin. So do you want to go for a short 7 or do you want to go for all of them? And I would think he'd go after all of them, which I think he tried to do because he was out on that head pin, but unfortunately he took the head pin right out. So he's par after 7, 70. There, he's right back in the pocket. Leaves the 9 and 10. Wood's going to roll out, I think, by the looks, and the one in back's going to drop off in the out of play. Well, that one may be good, but nope, guess it isn't going to be. So I guess you take a shot at the right-hand corner pin on the left-hand side and hope you hit it thin enough that it flops off the wall and drops back on the 9 pin. He hit that one very thin. If he'd have hit the 10 pin that thin,
yeah,
he might have had a shot at it.
Yeah,
he might have had a shot at it. And a 9 for 79. So with 2 boxes left in the second game, Randy's 88, Jeff is 89 and open, Hank is 84, and Miles is 79. To the middle, 2 and 4 and 3 and 6. There is a piece of wood laying down in back there. How much help it'd be, but you never know. If he went over to the 2 on the left, split them, the pin might drop over, hit that pin, and come forward off the wall. It's hard to say.
Right now,
it's a very difficult spare.
It certainly is. Right now, we have a 6-pin difference between Miles and Randy for the second spot, and that's shaping up to be a fight to who's going to advance into this next round. So Randy has brought that from a 15-pin deficit down to a 6. So
he's 6 over par on 9. 1 box to go. So a big mark here could be
the teller for him.
Could be good for Randy.
Onto that head pin.
There it is.
Yeah.
There's a good shot there.
Yeah.
If he splits those 3, that deadwood could, I'm not saying should, but could roll over and take the single pin that's there on the left.
And right now, that's what he needs to get him that chance at advancing.
Nope.
And he missed it. His only hope now is that Miles has a couple bad alleys and...
Oh, we don't think that way.
How long has it been since you bowled, Bruce?
There it was. Yeah, that's what he wanted.
Yep.
Too bad.
Yeah, it's a shame. It would have...
So Randy has a 2-game total of 216, 216. Jeff Baker, 89, and open with a strike in the 8th. There he is.
And right back into it.
There's a double strike.
There's our first.
There's a double strike.
First money winner of the day.
Yeah, so we're going to pay a little extra. Now, for those who don't know about double strikes, they're both worth 10, but
He almost got himself
the first
in
strike
trouble.
was worth 20 because of the 2 strikes, and his first ball counted on the first strike, so he got 29 on the first strike. He now has 10, and he played a real safe, so he got a spare, and he's got 3 marks in a row.
So that gives him a little more money. So he's up there picking up a few extra dollars, plus really enhancing his score.
Gave him 29 on the first strike, 20 on the second strike. He has a spare open in the 10th, so he has 138 plus 7.
So he has 17 on this alley.
So he has 145.
Excellent game.
To go with his 127, Jeff has a 2-game total of 272. Very nice. Average of 136. Real good ball. Real good.
Sure that Jeff breathed a sigh of relief when that second strike went down.
Yeah, that was, I don't think he really needed it to qualify, but hey, you always like double strikes and marks in a row.
And Hank gets a 9-pin break. And everything's just spreading right away from it, so he's got to go right directly at that pin. And misses.
By the sound of that one, it was out.
Yeah, I think so. Hank gives a little smile as he comes back.
Yeah, he told me not to say anything behind his back, but I didn't know how else I was going to do it because he wasn't going to face us when he bowled. And, there he goes.
Big strike. Big strike. Pressure's off, relaxing, and what happens?
Well, he's had a good game this time. He just got off to a bad start. So he gets 8 on his strike, which gives him 111. And a 2-game total of 205. He only had 4 marks over his 2 games, and that's really not enough to keep you in contention.
Anything over 12 pins on these next 2 alleys is going to put Miles into round 2.
Yeah, he's sitting there with 224 right now, yeah. Well, that's enough anyway, isn't it?
Oh, he has 79, 89, 99, 204 plus 8. So he's 212. So he's 4 pins behind Randy at this time.
He's 87 on 9.
Almost anything that's left on, if he keeps the balls on the alley this time, he's almost assured of advancing into the second round.
He's got 212 right now.
Randy has a total of 216 after his both games, so right there I think that assures Miles of advancing into the second round.
Yep.
This will give him a little bit of money as well to help offset their cost of their entry fee by advancing to the next round.
Nice spare. That little group of 4 there is looks like they're all bunched together, which they are, but it's still not the easiest spare on the board down there. It was the 3, 5, 6, and 9. So he's got 97 and 1 ball working for him. Ooh. And 6 is 103, which gives Miles 228. So the 4 scores for the bowlers in week 1. Leading the way was Jeff Baker with 127 and 145 for a total of 272. Miles DeViller is in second spot with a 125 and a 103 for 228. Third place was Randy Nickerson with 110 and 106 for 216. And fourth was Hank Nickerson with a 94 and 111 for 205. So the 2 bowlers to advance to the second round will be Jeff Baker and Miles DeViller.
And again, Bruce, right down to the last alleys to determine who's going to advance. Jeff kind of walked away with that first one and got himself a good lead there, so he didn't have to worry too much. But Miles, coming down into the last two alleys, if he'd had a couple bad alleys, could have cost him his advancement. But that's great.
That was good bowling.
We finished off our first week, and again, exciting bowling. Not overly big games, but at least one big game.
145.
Yeah. So, looking forward to our second week. I want to mention to the viewers again, the bowling championships here at Brunswick Lanes is brought to you by Subway and Red Knight Enterprises. Here on Cable 5, we'd like to have you here each week with us to enjoy this caliber of bowling. Look forward to seeing them next week.
Right on. We'll be here.
Thank you from Cliff Gable, Bruce Hopkins. We look forward to seeing you next week here on Cable 5. Thank you for joining us. Look forward to seeing you next week.